Okay, students, on this video, I'm going to show you how to create a image file of the construction document to submit for a grade. Remember, at this point, you should already have everything on the first floor plan view with dimensions and annotations and text and any detail lines that you may need. And at this point, you should already have a sheet created with the title block that you've been asked to use, with the view and everything appropriately labeled and dimensioned, okay? So to create the file, the image file, obviously the goal is to print on paper, but in this case, I'm going to show you for the purpose of this video how to create an image file that you can use for other purposes. The purpose of this class is obviously to submit it for a grade. So to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to go over here to the upper left where it says File. And what we're going to do is, if you're going to print it on paper, you go to Print, and that's where you print it to your printer or plotter here in the classroom. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to export. We're going to click over here to where it says Export, okay? So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Export, and it gets kind of hidden away. So you really have to be really, really careful and look for this little option that shows up. This little arrow whenever you're exporting. And go to Export. You look at CAD formats and DXF and all that, but you look for this little arrow down here at the bottom so you can scroll down to the bottom, because what we're looking for is we're going to export an image and animation, specifically an image. A little later, I'll show you how to do what's called a walkthrough. You can actually virtually walk through and make a recording of walking through the house, and you can export it as a video. But in this case, we're going to export. Okay, once again, I went over here to the left, File, Export, and then it doesn't show up immediately. You have to kind of just hover over the little arrow or click it, and then you go over here to where it says Images and Animations, and you're going to go to Image. We're going to export an image, and you click on that one. Okay. So now we need to kind of explore these settings. So this is going to be the more complicated part of this task. Is I'm going to export an image. So the first thing it tells you is where it's going to export it to. This is probably one of the biggest issues that we have with students, and I always ask you, where did you put the file? I don't know, mister, it's in Revit. Well, no, that's not in Revit. It's stored somewhere. So in this case, it's storing it under my documents folder, okay? So as long as I know where it's at, that way I'll be able to go and select it from there and save it. Of course, if you're working on your Google Drive, that's really the best thing, because you can go to change it, and then you go and export, go and select your Google Drive and go and find your Google Drive. But again, as long as you make sure you understand where are you actually saving the file. That's probably the most important thing here, is where are you saving the file. You can change it if you want to. In this case, I'm just going to leave it under my documents. What am I going to export? This is kind of like when you print a file, it's kind of similar in that it asks you, what do I want to export? In this case, my current window is the actual floor plan itself. Okay, so it's really just the current window, so you leave that alone. Okay. Everything else over here stays the same. You don't change that. This is where we need to start making some changes. If you don't make these changes, it will export an image file, but it's going to look horrible. It's going to be very pixelated. The resolution is going to be very, very bad, where you won't even be able to read it, okay? So then the thing that we need to do here is the image size. We're going to change it over to Zoom to. So we're going to change from Fit to Zoom to. Click on that one. And then the actual size, that's going to be changed to 100%, okay? What's going to be happening here is this is a C size sheet. So once I do that, the image itself will be C size, meaning I can then later print it directly to a plotter. As long as you're printing to actual size, it'll be C size. So it'll actually stay at the right size of the image, okay, of the sheet. The other thing to make it a higher quality is the raster image quality, okay? The default one is 72. That's too small. You really should be somewhere at least 300 or 600, okay? Sometimes, depending on how complicated the image is, if you go too high, the image file will be too big. So you just got to be careful. It's just a little bit of experimentation. So I'm going to try it at 300, and I'm going to look at it. Okay, so really the only thing I changed here is I changed over from Zoom to 100%. And this is what the file is going to create. It's going to create a JPEG file. And you do have other options of creating different formats of files, but JPEG is pretty common. It is just an image, by the way. Okay. And then the raster image quality, it defaults 72. I'm going to change that to at least 300. You can try 600 if you want to, and then just kind of see what it looks like. If 300 is still not too sharp looking, you might have to come back and redo it as a 600. So I'm going to go to 300. Okay. And then I'm going to hit OK. And I already created one earlier, so I'm just going to replace it. Hit yes. So notice it takes a little while because it's actually generating the file. Okay. So there it is. It created my image file. So let's go look at the image file. Remember, the key is, where did it go? It saved it under my documents folder. So I'm going to click on this folder here, and I'm going to go over to my documents, and there it is. Floor plan 2021. I'm going to open it and show you the image file. Okay. So this is literally just a picture. But if I zoom into it, look at how nice and sharp this image actually looks. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. The resolution is actually pretty good. Okay. You can kind of see a little bit of some distortion starts happening around the text and everything. But, overall, it's not bad. It looks really nice. It looks really nice. Okay. So then this is the image file you will be then submitting for a grade. I will be grading off this image file. Okay.